so I've been seeing this a lot with Clarence and Queen, but it's genuinely true. Like, you cannot date your type. If you are constantly dating your type and it ain't working out, girl, check them DMs. Look at his picture. If it's like, that's the one. I'm telling you, baby. When I met my boyfriend, who's my husband now, he'd even tell you, baby, it took me a little minute to, you know what I'm saying? You know, it took me about 2 days to start liking him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being for
Listen,
real.
ain't nothing wrong with what she's saying, all right? There's nothing, because I'm a big fan of naming the thing, okay? She seems like she's a real person to me. And this is, but I feel like there's certain things you don't do in an institution. And I think our generation seems to not understand that. You commit yourself to an institution like marriage. It's just what it is, right? But we have this thing where everybody wants to be a youth pastor. I'll explain. Everybody wants to be a youth pastor in a sense. You know how your youth pastor is just a guy who happens to love God and want to preach the word of God? There's nothing wrong with that, I reiterate. But he has this affinity, he has this need to sort of connect to the youth and bring up things of the secular world that religion ultimately casts a shadow on and says, no, do not. But he needs to connect to that. You have to understand the youth pastor syndrome is a major case of marketing, right? It's just a major part of marketing. Kendrick is a secular artist singing, they're not like us, they're not like us. They bring it to the church. We love Jesus, trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor. And it's like, I don't know, probably strike a chord and it's probably demonic. Like, it's married people can have that problem sometimes where you have this need to connect with your single friends or try to understand what dating is like, or try to like pitch yourself into the conversation of what people who are single or dating are going through. Like, she had no business making this video, or the people who are pretty, nobody else had any business making this video, right? But they had to be in the conversation, some razzle dazzle, add some spice. Yo, I used to think my name was ugly, which is wild. Like, you don't get a job and to provide and secure yourself and your generations or whatever, and sit there and have a casual conversation with your boss and go, this company wasn't my first pick. I ain't really plan to work here, like, for real. Like, you don't do that. That's not a conversation you have, because you made a commitment to the company. This is what's putting food on your table. This is what you've committed to. You see it through. But you don't sit down and go make videos about how, oh man, like, just so you know, this company, not my type. Like, I looked up a lot of companies, and obviously the companies that I looked up and the companies that I really wanted to work at really ain't want me, and they really weren't like looking for my type, and I really didn't have the skills to meet the requirements of those companies. But this one right here, y'all chose me, and because y'all chose me, that's why I chose this. You hear how that sounds? You hear how do you hear how that sounds? Again, it's the youth pastor church syndrome. It happens with every other institution of commitment. People commit themselves to a thing, but they have to prove that they're down. They have to prove that they're cool. You speak to someone who's corporate or someone who's finance, they're like, I'm a little bit of a creative myself. You speak to someone who's a scientist, you speak to someone who's a creative, and they're like, I'm a little bit of an intellectual myself. Don't get me wrong, there are intersections, you can be both, but you don't have to have that conversation. It doesn't have to be a thing. You don't have to bring it to the internet. But we're in this era of multi-hyphenates, right? People put anything in a bio as long as it has a ring to it. Like, there was a time where whatever you put in your bio was what you actually were or what you did. Now people put their aspirations in their bio, in their resume. They manifest via employment. Anyways, the point is, before I stray up the topic, I have the habit of doing this. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what she said. It's just I don't think you name the thing while being in the thing, because you're talking about a human being, not an abstract object. Eventually, one day that man is going to wake up and it's going to occur to him, unless the person that you're dealing with has a self-esteem that has ultimately been locked in to that space for, in time. But yeah, it's just, come on, it's just a little distasteful. That's all. Nothing against. I see she's a passionate person, just a little too happy, I guess.